Hello, I'm Average Joe, and welcome to YouTube Plays D&D, where comments are king. I apologize for how I sound, it's fairly early in the morning. So the vote for last week was a tie between Aoth and Bree, and I'm not sure if the vote for Aoth counts really, so because of that, and among other reasons, we're going to be going with Bree. But before we talk about Bree, I think I should explain the setting of this adventure. Welcome to Cannonfall. Cannonfall is a desert nation surrounded by mountains. It's fairly large, taking a few weeks to travel across, if you're lucky. And the word nation isn't entirely accurate, as Cannonfall has a very small population compared to its size. Due to the harsh conditions of the desert and the battles between two warring nations on the east and west sides, not many people live in the desert. However, Cannonfall is anything but deserted. On Cannonfall's north and south borders, there is a large number of small markets and villages. The markets will buy scrap and junk from ruined airships, and scavengers frequent the sites of previous battles to collect things to sell. There's one major city on the south border and one on the north border. Wellsworth is the southern city, being controlled by a group of monks who have their monastery built around a spring. Through a series of aqueducts and metal valves, among other things, monks distribute water where it's needed in the city, some for farming, some for living. Now, onto Bree. Bree Hilltop was a Lightfoot halfling. She was born to a poor family in Wellsworth who could not afford to keep her. The Wellsworth Monastery offered to raise Bree in exchange for having her become part of the monastery when she was old enough. Bree's parents, with very few options, agreed. Bree spent most of her life in the monastery. While she was young, she was taught how to read, and when she was older, she was put to work repairing the metal parts in the monastery's aqueduct system, either through replacing or remaking the parts. Bree tried to continue her schooling, but was much more interested in learning to fight. Eventually, her mastery of the arts almost rivaled her teachers. However, her curiosity of the outside world got the best of her. At her request, she was given a covered cart, a mule, and a small amount of gold and led out into the world, hoping to find adventure and maybe her parents. You are Bree Hilltopple. You had just left the monastery and were exploring Wellsworth, having never actually left the monastery, when three adventurers approached you. They requested that you escort them to a place outside of town. You initially turned them down, wanting to explore a bit before you actually left Wellsworth. But the three were persistent, offering you a large sum of gold. You tried to tell them you had never left town and didn't know your way around, but they said it didn't matter. They knew where they were going, they just needed a cart. Reluctantly, you agreed to go along. The three loaded themselves into your cart and pointed you where to go. You kept second watch, not sure what to think of these three. Meryl took the watch after yours. You woke up the next day, rubbing the sleep out of your eyes. Your cart was still there. Everything and everyone was still in the cart. According to Adric, who seemed to speak for the group most of the time, your destination was still about 3 days away. You asked these three where exactly it is they were going. "Ain't tell ya, top secret," said Adric. Meryl nudges him in the side. Adric sighs. "Alright, I suppose it couldn't hurt to tell you since we're using your cart and all. We're heading out towards a recent skirmish. Rumor has it one of them dwarf ships went down. If it's mostly intact, we can loot it for some interesting sells. If it's not intact, we could probably scrap some of the metal. Hopefully it is intact, because some of them ships got some impressive armories, and Sneak's been wanting some new daggers for her collection." The cloaked halfling grins. "Anywho, we've got a few days to get there. That'll give us some time to get to know each other." Over the next few days, you learn that Adric and Meryl are deserters from the Thousand-Year War, the war between the two nations on the east side and the west side, Wystan and Bruskel. Wystan being an elvish nation, Bruskel being a dwarvish nation. They had met when a skirmish forced them to hide in the same spot. They got to know each other fairly well as the cannons fired above their heads. They both agreed that the war was pretty stupid and decided to join the scavenging business. The two had met Sneak while they were selling a haul. She had pilfered a dagger from the trader the two were selling to. The trader had asked them to capture the thief, and so they did. The two had recognized the benefit of having Sneak on their team, so they paid off the trader and accepted Sneak into their more or less impromptu family, although they made sure to keep her on a short leash. After a few days, you arrive at the destination. You see a massive airlift laying askew, partially buried in the sand. The sands had blown around the ship, making a more or less natural bridge up to the deck. Adric picks up his pack. Right, this is the place. You can stick around the cart if you want, although if you feel like tagging along, we won't stop you. The choice for today: do you join Adric and the others in raiding the airship, or do you wait in the cart, trying to make sure that everything you own is safe? Leave your choice in the comments below, and if you have a question, comment, or another idea, put those in the comments as well. As usual, you have a week from this video to post your vote, so see you in a week. Happy adventuring.